A couple months ago, I saw a video done by MrRepzion addressing a radical feminist by the name of Femitheist Divine, which is a channel run by, I think, more than one person. But for this video, I will be addressing the same person he did, which was the founder / overseer of the channel named Krista. So I decided to look around on the Femitheist Reborn blog, and boy, oh boy, did I get enraged. Now, at first I thought this was satire. It definitely looked like satire. Had all the classic signs, pushing all of these views to the extreme ends, the absolute limit, and in many instances in her blog, just going way past what we consider reasonable limits. But then I realized it wasn't satire. I'm not going to read to you the entire blog post, but one particular one that caught my attention was one posted on September the 10th, 2012, and I will link to that down below. And what Krista, the Femitheist, is proposing in order to solve the oppression of women and to stop the patriarchy from continuing on to future generations is National Castration Day, which is exactly as pleasant as it sounds, to castrate all men, because men have testosterone, which is produced mainly through their sex organs, and that this will eventually lead to making men civilized so that all women do not have to feel threatened. And, she says, and I quote, 10% of males worldwide would be used solely for the purposes of breeding and nothing more. They would be given enough sustenance and so forth to remain alive while being held in captivity to keep them from posing a threat to the general population outside. They would be allowed visitations by their closest female guardians and or relative if their closest female guardians or relative wishes to see them. I would like to address you now, Krista, Miss Femitheist, whatever title you would like to use. When Repzion called you Hitler's incarnate, he was not kidding. But firstly, let's start with what I agree with. I agree that men are responsible for the majority of violent crime. I don't shy away from that whatsoever. Statistically proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt to me, that men are responsible for a lot of violent crime and has been responsible for a lot of the oppression of women in the past, and even in some instances in the present. What I deny is that it is our genitalia or our hormones that is responsible for this oppression of women or violent crime. Now, I'm going to reject your thesis for two reasons, and the main one is that you have absolutely no physical evidence to support it, none whatsoever. Where's your scientific literature to support anything you say? You have none. All you have is common knowledge that testosterone makes men very aggressive. Well, a lot of what we perceive as common knowledge can be wrong. It holds no merit in academia. So if you are trying to convince anyone of your points, you'd best provide it with some good, hard data. Reason number two, even if I were to grant that more aggressive or violent men have higher increases in testosterone, that's not to say that it is the testosterone or the genitalia of males that makes people violent. It could just be that as people are violent, maybe they also have higher increases in testosterone, or maybe they just happen to have male genitalia and are violent. You're going to have to do a little more work to show why testosterone makes guys violent, or why having a pair of balls makes males violent. Finally, even if I were to grant that it was the cause of all violence, that having a set of balls or having more testosterone than girls do was the cause of our violence, would that justify this National Castration Day? I don't think so. Because you are a feminist, I do suppose that you believe in the patriarchy, which you have mentioned in your previous videos. So, men currently oppress the rights of women. And you think with this National Castration Day that it's going to solve all problems. Well, you're just oppressing the rights of men in this instance. Because what about me? Why don't I get a say in this? You're going to put a razor blade to my balls, aren't you? So I don't get a say in my own genitalia? You're going to oppress my rights too? So two wrongs apparently make a right. You know, the main problem I have is that you're oversimplifying it so much that you don't even take anything else into consideration. Have you ever considered that it might not be just physical, or it might not even be the physical aspects of being a man in general, but also the social aspect? Have you ever considered that maybe, just maybe, guys might be socialized in a different way than girls? That they're socialized to be assertive and dominant and strong and, you know, all so that they will not be called cowardly or wimps or pussies? Have you ever considered that? That might not just be the fault of other men, but society in general? Or maybe you might not have considered that crime statistics are biased towards guys. The justice system is biased against males because females get much less prison time for the equivalent crimes than guys. Statistically proven. I will link to that down below. Have you ever considered the fact that yes, guys tend to be the perpetrators of violent crimes, but we also tend to be the victims as well? Have you ever considered that? Let me propose to you another hypothetical situation, okay? And see how well you think of it. So there are a lot of black people in prisons. It's statistically proven that African Americans have a higher rate of committing crimes than, let's say, any other race of people. Should we then force every single African American to go through gene therapy to make them white? In your own words, you want to keep 10% of the male population alive that would be used for the sole purpose of breeding and nothing more. So is that all we're worth to you? That you would be willing to put us in concentration camps, essentially, so that we can give you our sperm so that the rest of the human species can survive? That's all we're worth to you? Well, fuck you. And yes, I stand against you, and I think you need psychological help, not because I stand on the opposing side, but because you are advocating gendercide, infanticide, genocide, and eugenics, all of which go counter to just everything we know about biology and sociobiology and society and just basic ethics in general. Oh, and by all means, don't take me seriously because I'm a man and because I have genitalia which you want to chop off. Just ask any woman if they think that this is a viable solution to castrate all men and leave 10% of them in cages so that you can suck the semen out of them to make the rest of the world a better place. Why don't you ask women and politicians how they feel about this beautiful new era that you are proposing? May the truth always be heard.